Hi, and welcome to the first of my monthly biohacking chats with just me. I'm going to be answering all your most frequently asked questions, and also we'll be interacting with some of your comments. So join me for the next hour for a biohacking chat. Right, guys, how are we all? Thanks for joining me. I thought these are quite good for me too, because I get so many DMs and I've got all the kids and everything. I want to get back to everybody, but I'm just like running out of time. And Matthew's like, you're going to get square eyes on the phone. So I figured this would be the quickest way to answer all your questions. Oh, my t-shirt. I need to tell you about these t-shirts. The lady who makes them is called Pollyanna, and I went to school with her, and she's going to do like a competition, a giveaway, because she sent me a load, and I absolutely love them. They're really nice. Oh, sorry, I'm flying low. But they're quite, they're sort of like quite baggy. I'm like really cut nicely, not like a bloke's t-shirt. So at the end of this, I'll do a giveaway, or I might actually do a separate post, so you can all win a load. They're really, really nice. Okay, right, so... Right, let's get down to it. I've got a load of questions here, and I'll keep looking as well, just to see if anything pops up that's relevant. Okay, how did my journey start? Right, well, as you may know, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I kind of knew there was something wrong with me back then, but I didn't realise that. I just thought that was my lot, that's just the way life is, that I drank too much and then I became an alcoholic. So I did like 5 years of sobriety, thinking that, going to AA and stuff, and just doing the usual, eating kind of low-fat diets, constantly battling with my weight. And if you go to AA, you have cakes there and cigarettes and loads of like coffee with milk in and everything. So it's all very sort of like nicotine, sugar and caffeine based. So you kind of cross addict into that. So trying to follow a low calorie diet there was a bit tricky as well, because you're obviously surrounded by triggers. But I digress from that. But what happened was I was just doing a regular sort of recovering alcoholic routine, going to AA like 3-4 times a week, doing the steps. And then my mum got cancer. She got breast cancer. And me being me was like, okay, what do we do? You can't die. I'm pregnant with number 3 and I need you. You're my mum. I love you. I have no siblings. So, it was like panic. And I started reading like we all do. I've literally done a combined GCSE science, got a B in that. How, I don't know. But that was like the end of my science sort of education. And then obviously the state of panic can drive you. So I started reading about cancer, and living in London, it's very international. And so I started speaking to people who have been in the same predicament as me. And strangely enough, there was just by luck, there was a woman who lived next door to us, and she was Iranian. And she said, you need to take your mother to Germany. That is completely different to what is on offer in the UK. And I always thought, no, the UK is the best in the world. We are the envy of the world. But anyway, obviously, my mum got told, get your affairs in order. You're going to die imminently. So I said, right, let's go to Germany. We've got nothing to lose. So we went to Germany, and I saw a completely different world and a different approach to cancer and different technologies that were literally 20 years ahead of what I'd witnessed in Manchester. And what really struck a chord with me was how they instantly took a biopsy of her tumour and took a DNA sample of it. And then they started speaking to me about different pathways and how all our bodies react differently to different chemos because of a detox pathway. And something resonated with me. I don't know what it was, but it was something about targeted treatment, and how we all have a predisposition to X, Y, and Z diseases, and how you can navigate out of them. So that was my introduction to genetics. And Germany managed to keep my mum alive a good 6 months longer than the UK would have expected to. So she got to meet my number 3, which is a blessing. And, she held him, and they shrunk the tumour. And basically, she came home to England wanting to be at home for Christmas and got an infection. And she ended up dying because of obviously low immunity. But what gift that gave me was the fact that we are not our genes, we can navigate them. And then I started thinking, well, hang on, if I've got a chronic disease called alcoholism, why? Why have I got it when I don't have trauma? What is it in my genetics? And you start looking back through your family history and you can see patterns. And this is when I stumbled across the big, beautiful world of biohacking. And I mean, there's some cross references there with alcoholism and addiction and how we react to certain foods, particularly as women, that is a little bit untapped. And I'm still fascinated with it because it's an emerging subject. But to get back to my point, I entered biohacking and controlling what I put in my body and controlling myself mentally and stepping away from AA and that sort of, well, for me, it's slightly old-fashioned approach to my chronic disease of alcoholism by biohacking through the gateway of cancer, basically. And it's all interlinked. So that's how I stumbled across biohacking. Panic, basically, the usual one. And I must say, because it's not 9 o'clock at night, I'm normally talking to you at 9 o'clock at night, the kids could run in at any given point, or those puppies or whatever. So I apologize in advance. Okay, so biohacking, it sounds really expensive, but basically biohacking is trying to sort of live as ancestrally as possible. And so for people like me who live in the city like London, we don't get as much fresh air as you'd like. And so as a biohacker, I mitigate that by taking things like chlorella and activated charcoal and sitting in saunas. This is a brilliant way to detox, and these are not expensive. So when we get out of lockdown, I mean, I think everyone should really join a gym because socially it's quite good for your self-esteem. Once you start making friends in the gym, you realise they're not a scary place and everyone's there just because they're all struggling and they're all trying to live their best life, you know. But I'd always recommend a gym with a sauna in. It's brilliant for cardiovascular health. I mean, when I have my Apple Watch on in the gym, it goes as high as when I'm running, like seriously running. So you are getting an inner workout as well as detoxing. You can also take a really cheap supplement called niacin, which is vitamin B3, and that makes you flush. It makes your capillaries widen and you get like this red effect all over you and it's quite itchy, and basically it's opening up your blood vessels to detox faster. And again, after your sauna, take these. So that's chlorella or activated charcoal. These are both binders. These are also good, because I'm getting ahead of myself, if you have a cheat day. So basically, I don't call it a cheat as in you're cheating, you know, you're having chocolate as a treat. I just say, well, you're cheating yourself, really. You know, so don't think that a cheat day, you've got away with it. You've not. What you can do is try and mitigate the damage. So I'm a big advocate of cutting out veg oils, seed oil, including organic rapeseed. I don't like it. I've read too many studies on the fact that they're really, really bad and inflammatory, and they turn into a trans fat inside us, and they mess with your brain. Not just your heart, because I mean, we always think of heart conditions way in the future. Immediately, they will mess with your brain. I'm predisposed to depression. Obviously, that's why I'm an alcoholic. So I have to look after my brain, number one. And trust me, when you start feeding your brain right, your body just switches. All of a sudden, you've got the right nutrition in you. So if your primary focus is your brain, within 2 weeks, your body's going to follow. If that, within a week, if you suddenly turn paleo, within a week, you will see that bloating go down. You will start seeing all that water retention around your ankles and your wrists and here. All of that starts going down because you're not eating foods that are basically bruising you on the inside. Right, so back to cheat days. So what I do, if I do go out for dinner and I think, sack it, I'm having a takeaway, I'm having a Chinese, because it gets on you. Don't forget, that addictive Chinese takeaway is ingrained in my brain just as much as my first alcoholic drink is. They are highly addictive substances. They're associated with pleasure. There's no way I'm going to untrain myself. I've been eating takeaways since I was a kid. So if I suddenly get a takeaway on me and I think, right, I'm having one, What I will do is make sure that I take activated charcoal at the same time. That will bind on to the sugars in there. It will bind on to all the MSGs in there, and it will bind on to those nasty oils, the inflammatory oils like the veg oil, the sunflower oil that they've used about 1,000,000 times anyway to keep costs down. Because remember, it's a business. So take these as you're eating it. In fact, these are really good for if you're drinking alcohol as well. And also at night, when you've finished, I always get about a shot glass of apple cider vinegar in some water, neck it down, and literally clean my teeth and go to bed. And that will kind of help the next day. You're going to get as much as you can out of you, you know? And I'm sorry to be brutal, but I'll probably have a diet tea as well. They've got one, I know a few of you have tried it. There's a pharmacy called House of Mystery in Hampstead, and this guy's got this like mixture of this herbs, and it is like rocket fuel. It just goes right through you. So in the morning you wake up and that Chinese takeaway is in the loo, if you know what I mean. So basically a cheat day, I just try and get it out of me as fast as possible before it ends up stuck in my brain, and it triggers that addictive personality in me, and I want more. Before I know it, I want croissants in the morning, and then I want to have a pizza in the afternoon, and you know what I mean? It's that first step. It drives me mad. Okay, fillers to look out for in vitamins. So I love going to Holland and Barrett. I love seeing what they've got in. I love reading like the messages of hope and, oh, this is going to do that, this is going to do the other. The fillers that I look out for, because I've just been sent some, I'm not going to show you yet because I'm not given this company really the chance to answer me why they've got these ingredients in here. But I was just looking, it's a lovely looking product, and basically it says eat your greens. So it's got all the greens in here, and I'm not a fan of greens because sometimes they bloat me. So I thought, great, I've got spirulina in here, I've got wheatgrass, I've got organic spinach, kale, blah, 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 beetroot. But then also I have got sunflower oil, I have got anti-caking agents, I've got rice flour, bulking agents. I'm thinking, what percentage of that is basically going to inflame me, and what's going to like benefit me, and what is that capsule made out of? So have a look for when you do turn the beautiful bottle over. Have a look for things like caking agents, because I tell you what doesn't have anti-caking agents in. Planet Paleo. And people say to me, oh, it doesn't mix very well. So that's because it's not got the anti-caking agents in. And we don't want anti-caking agents in, do we? Because that is just another chemical that is going to stick inside us and probably inflame us. It's not what we're after. We want to bring it back, like I said, to an ancestral ingredient. So when I'm looking for ingredients in Holland and Barrett, I want to see the least amount of ingredients. I want to make sure it's got food in it, food-derived ingredients. So that's why I like things like this Planet Paleo. All of their ingredients, they are so simple to understand, like this one here, because the marine collagen is best for your skin, your nails. My nails are great. I've got really bendy nails, and I've only just lost one this week, and normally after a week my nails are peeling, and I think it's down to this. So this is basically 100% sourced from wild, sustainably caught fish off the coast of France. So when you see things like sustainably caught, you think that's a farm. So what are they feeding those fish? So these are wild caught. So look, when you're looking at fish, look for wild and sustainable. Don't just look for sustainable, because more than likely the fish are in a farm, in some shed in Norfolk, and they're getting chucked a load of pellets into it with full of antibiotics. That's not what you want. That's why I trust these guys, Planet Paleo. And personally, I think collagen is one of the best supplements you can get inside and out. And another thing that these guys do as well, which are really handy, they've got these little sachets. So this is bone broth, but it is vanilla, cinnamon and banana flavor. So you can tip that in your smoothie if you don't like, your regular bone broth, because I personally do. This is the savory one with herbs, and I mix that. So I put a bit of hot water in, and of course it'll cake a bit. So if you put a tiny little bit in some warm water, mix it up into a paste, then put the hot water in, and then put some MCT oil and blend it up. I swear it's like a cup of soup. Just put loads of salt and pepper in, and it's brilliant. This is the best thing to heal your gut, bone broth. And bovine collagen is the best. There's something about that beef collagen that will heal your gut. So have a look at Planet Paleo. They're really ahead of the game here. And like I said, it just says here, basically, it's come from the highest quality, organic, grass-fed cattle in Scandinavia. I mean, that's all you need to know. And you don't even have to start boiling bones like I am. I mean, it really stinks in this house at the moment. Okay. Body moisturizer. I like a company called Jason's. And they are really good, actually, price-wise. You get a big tub like this for $6.99. Otherwise, the thing is with body moisturizer for me is, I mean, I'm not all about clean and not clean, because don't get me wrong, I love a chemical as long as it works. But I just think about my toxic load and my liver and the damage I've done to my liver with my 80s diet and drinking and smoking and whatever else I've shoved in my body over the years, antidepressants, uppers, downers, all the way around us. I just think I need to look after my liver and my pancreas. So by smothering my body in like a perfumed, non-organic moisturizer, just to smell nice, just to make my skin feel a little bit more soft, I think I'm going to put my liver under a little bit more stress for not much results. So because remember, your skin's the biggest organ in the body. It's huge. It absorbs everything. It absorbs pollution. I mean, some people even get reactions from detergent from your clothes. So for me, I just go for Jason's, and it's mainly coconut based. And to be honest, if I'm drinking tons of this and I'm even in the sun, my skin isn't too bad, you know. I think you can kind of moisturize from the inside out. But if you're just completely used to moisturizing, stick with coconut oil, stick with Jason's. I wouldn't go for E45, no. I'd stay away from Vaseline and all that. It's petroleum jelly. I mean, actually, Susie, who's on here now, she told me when I had the babies not to put Vaseline on them, to just use extra virgin olive oil. I mean, it is, you can use that on your skin. You know, if you've got a little bit left over, put it on your body. Your body's going to absorb it. You're not going to waste it. I just think basically turn everything around and let's just count. If it's got more than 3 ingredients in, put it back. You're paying for shelf life. You're paying for marketing. You're paying for perfume. And it doesn't even last. You know, if I'm going to go out on a night, I will like to use perfume, but I'll put it in my hair. I'm not going to put it here where it goes straight into your bloodstream. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to me, which brings me on to deodorant. Now, I really perspire. I drive myself mad. I've tried every single organic one. I've tried that Crystal, that didn't work, just rubbish. So this is the only one, and I can only find it in Spain. It's called Biohacking, and it's organic. Honest to God, I've tried all of them, and I think it just depends on your detox pathway, whether you stink or not. So this is the one I found that works for me. Again, have a look at the ingredients, see what it's saying. This one just says it's organic. I mean, if I can, I'll just try and not use as much as possible, to be honest, and just jump in the shower. It's just one of those things. But I just think this, my mum dying of breast cancer, this going into my lymphs, near my breasts, you know, I just don't think it's worth it. So basically, I tried doing organic one. My daily supplements. Okay, so a load of you have said to me, what supplements do you take? And I'm thinking you want to copy those. What I'd have trouble with saying is what works for me won't work for you. But what I think works for everyone is good quality sleep. Now then, I swear by this Aura ring. I got it for Christmas from the boys. It was about 200 quid. I'm sure they'll do. I'm sure they're doing discounts all the time. It's an American company. There's no EMFs. It's very small, not like you watch, you know. And basically, it takes your body temperature. It tells you how much REM sleep you've had. It tells you how much deep sleep you've had. It tells you how restless you are. It tells you how long it took you to go to sleep, the latency. And sometimes if you fall asleep too quickly, that indicates that you're absolutely knackered. And if you fall asleep too late, it also indicates that you're wired. So it's I'd much rather have this than any diamond ring or anything. I've totally changed how I look at material possessions. If someone has a really beautiful diamond ring on or something, I'm like, yeah, but what does it tell you? Does it tell you how much REM sleep you've had? No, it doesn't, but this does. So I can bore people with this. So I think the biggest biohack in the world has got to be sleep. Now then, I have messed around with my sleep for years. I'm always trying to hack it. So basically, my perfect combination at the moment, and I'm so pleased that this company have put it all in one, because I was buying 3 or 4 different types of supplements. So Honor have got Dream On. Now then, Honor has got a company, a sister company in America, and their Dream On in America has an extra ingredient that us Brits can't have, which is called GABA. You can get them here in Spain, you can get them in the bloody supermarket, but you try getting them in the UK. No, you can't, because I don't know why. Somebody obviously took too much GABA and has some sort of heart attack, which for me is just crazy, because you can buy alcohol and nicotine. Well, actually, nicotine's not that bad. It's the cigarettes that are bad. You can buy virtually flipping Class A drugs in Tesco's, but you can't buy GABA that helps you relax and sleep. So this is what I do. Don't take my advice to be gospel, but this is what I do. I'd order on a European website. I'd get some GABA. I'd combine it with Dream On. I would also get some melatonin, and I would take all of those 3 together. I would then lie on my spike mat watching Netflix for 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden I am gone. I am asleep. And the only thing that wakes me up before I should do would be the kids. And I know that because my ring tells me so. It tells me I am getting optimum REM, it tells me I'm getting optimum deep sleep, and it tells me that I'm not falling asleep too quick, I'm not falling asleep too slow, and I'm literally getting a decent restorative sleep. And that is a stack I would recommend for virtually everyone. So just to recap, this you can get in the UK, but it is missing melatonin, which you can't get in the UK. You'd have to get that on a European website. And it's missing GABA. So that's what you'd have to stack with. That's what I stack with. But if you went to the USA, you could get this with GABA in already. It's just a legal loophole that you have to get around. I think personally, sleep far outweighs any biohack there is. Okay. Let's see, what else do I take? Right, so a few of you have been asking about DIM. I know that the allergy research group are tricky to get hold of unless you've got a practitioner. Melatonin, I just put a couple of drops underneath my tongue. It's about 3 milligrams, if that, so it's a microdose. If you need more, just do. I mean, your sleep's the most important thing ever. And that 5-HTP is already in here. Okay, so this is another company I've used. This is called Pure Encapsulations. Now this is DIM again. So try these ones. If you can't get hold of the allergy research group, try these ones. I will put a link to it. Incidentally, of course, I'm going to edit all this and put it up within the next 24 hours with all the links to and everything, so that you don't have to keep scribbling it down. Don't worry about that. I mean, I cannot think and write at the same time. So yeah, this is another one to try. I came off DIM and had a load of PMT last month, so I've learned my lesson. This works for me. It might not work for you, but give it a go. I mean, what we're going to do, just suffer. Another supplement I think is really good. Right, so the only IV I've felt a physical boost with, and I have spent thousands on IVs, trust me, and that would be NAD. You can get it in on Wimpole Street, 48 Wimpole Street do it, at a company called IV Boost. Now, before before the lockdown, they had, I think, 20% off if you mention my name. That is a game changer. Okay, you go in there and you get a glutathione, which I'm naturally low in anyway. You get a glutathione sort of like 20-minute IV, and then you sit there for a good 6 hours and you just get an IV right through your body, and it feels a bit like period pains. So it's like a workout for your cells. But oh my God, as soon as it comes out, it's fine. You don't feel the pain. You don't feel like it's like a dragging pain all over you. But it's your cells getting hold of this NAD. Now, as you get older, you run out of NAD. And this is why, as you get older, you get hangovers worse. This is why you don't recover from colds as well. NAD is like a lifeline. So as soon as I get back to the UK, that's the first thing I'm doing. I'm getting some NAD in me. I've got my dad to do it. Another thing with NAD+, not NADH, NAD+, I won't give you the full Latin name. Basically, it's great. They're now using it in rehab facilities. So if you have cravings for alcohol, there's nothing that you can do. So if you go through the doors of AA, it's basically you white knuckle for a couple of weeks. But now they've got this NAD IV. This taps into your dopamine pathways, and it sort of like mitigates those cravings. So of course you're going to have to work a program as well, but it might give you that edge to just get that first couple of weeks under your belt of sobriety before you can, because there is nothing worse than craving alcohol. Trust me, I've done it. It's horrific. So that NAD could be really useful for someone who wants to just get off that alcohol bandwagon. It's horrific. But personally, as soon as I've done NAD, my sleep's better. It's pretty good anyway, but my sleep feels better. My running is better. I can breathe more. It taps into so many different pathways. It's friggin' brilliant. Anyway, if you can't afford that, because it is expensive, these companies do these NAD capsules. Now, if you want to go, I think he gave us 50% on this. You'll have to check. It's IV Boost. In fact, I'll link them into this and just be cheeky and say any chance we can have some discount. So this basically feeds your cells energy. Your cells, you use like a life source called mitochondria, which produces something called ATP, and that is energy. So that is in every single bloody cell. You need this, and these pills are quite. These pills are quite snazzy as well. But you take 3 of these 3 times a day, so you whiz through them. But if you can't afford an IV, get the supplements and see what happens. This is for everybody over the age of 20 because you just start depleting them. Brilliant, 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 brilliant biohack. Let's see what else we got. Right, okay, Kion. Now then, I'd love you to all have a look at a company called Kion. It's a guy called Ben Greenfield. He is an incredible biohacker, in incredible shape. He's like up there. He lives in the wild and everything. He's like so intelligent. It's a joke. But he has basically got a very, very nice brand of products. So this is called Kion Flex. This will help you after a workout. So this is handy if you're just starting out. And after you feel stiff, this will kind of mitigate it. It's got some really nice ingredients in. And if you can't get Kion, listen, what I do is I have a look at their ingredients and I just basically go and copy it. So it's got the usual turmeric in and everything, but have a look. That's another really good idea. If you're struggling for cash, half of these ingredients you'll find in the supermarket anyway in the herb aisle. So check it out. Have a look at Kion. Have a look at Ben Greenfield anyway. He is on another level, but he's got so many fantastic insights into the world of biohacking. Right, what else have I got that I take regularly? I think that's kind of it for supplements. If I am training as well, I'm trying to see, did I bring it down? I do like to use On a Game On before I go running or before I do a HIIT class. It has caffeine in, but it also has L-theanine in and rhodiola, so you're not going to hit that cortisol belly fat sort of, because obviously if you have too much cortisol, obviously your body thinks you're under attack and it's going to store fat. So with Honor's Game On, basically it will give you a bit of energy, but what I'd recommend is you use it. You take 2 of those tablets and you get out and run. Otherwise, you're going to be sat with this nervous energy. And that's not a nice place to be. If you were doing paperwork, because it's also for mental stimulation as well, I reckon you should have like 1 and see how you get on. But definitely give it a go. It's a really, it comes in a bottle like this, in the red version of this. And I think it's really handy, particularly if you started out in the gym. It'll just give you that extra energy. Another tip is, if you find yourself getting breathless in the gym or on your run, try some cordyceps by Force Somatic. It is a mushroom. Put it in your coffee, whiz it up, and for some reason that makes me breathe a bit better. Those cordyceps. So Force Somatic, I've not got them here. I've not been able to buy them here actually. So they're really handy. Let's see what else. Okay, first step onto the treadmill and how to get there. Well, that kind of brings me on from game on really. If you make that split decision, throw those tablets down your neck, you've got to get on the treadmill. I mean, I had to force myself on the treadmill this morning. It was actually about 12 o'clock when I got on the treadmill, and I didn't want to be there. And the only thing that keeps me there is a decent playlist. It is hard work because we've got a primal brain, and our primal brain is to conserve energy unless it's in a case of emergency. So you have to override it. But the great thing about the human brain is once it understands it's okay, we're just training, your endorphins kick in and you end up having a nice time. And trust me, 5 minutes is all you need to change your brain function. 5 minutes. Listen, people can hold their breath for 15 minutes, 5 minutes out your day isn't even the adverts on TV. It is really important that you do this for yourself. Otherwise, who's going to do it for you? If you can't get onto a treadmill, get in a cold shower. You have to make the change. There are a billion, trillion excuses in the book, and you're never going to convince yourself. When you put your head on that pillow at night, you're never going to convince yourself if you've not even tried 5 minutes. Another great one for me is getting the broom handle and twisting. That somehow works. First of all, it gives you a bit of a neater waist, but also there's something about getting the gut going. And just by standing up and twisting like this seems to obviously the gut and the brain, they're completely connected. So you may as well hack into that. 5 minutes of that. I would recommend everybody gets some wireless headphones and gets into their own little disco for one, because that is what changed my life really, and being able to stay out longer than 10 minutes. I have a very low boredom threshold, very low. And for me, listening to music, listening to podcasts, listening to an audiobook, absolutely changed my life. So remember, if you're going out for a walk, great. But maybe walk to something that's a little bit faster. I mean, I like disco. I'm dead cheesy. I like a bit of Gloria Gaynor or something on a Thursday morning. And I will walk. And if you've got that music on, you will walk to the beat. The only trouble with like an audio book is you tend to walk slower. So if you do have an audio book, I'd use it on a treadmill so you can put it on that incline and you can sweat. I think the best investment I've ever made was a treadmill. That one is 20 years old. I think it was about 300 odd euros. You can pick them up off Gumtree everywhere. Really good ones. It's the best investment you'll make. Absolutely. I've learned that no matter what I do, I will always have a treadmill. Forget the free weights. I need to move. And like today, I didn't have that much time to do a long run. So I just did a couple of inclines, 10 minutes, up, down, sweating like a pig, jumped in a cold shower. So much better. 10 minutes out of my life. It's nothing. It's really nothing. So if you learn anything from this, get on bloody Gumtree, find yourself a treadmill. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a Snazatron one. And one word of advice, make sure it's got a lip on it. So as you're walking, it's got a lip on it So you can put your iPad or your phone, so you can just like tap away. If you're doing an incline walk, you should still be able to write an email. And that flies like that, particularly if you're doing a really like lawyery one. You get right into it. But you can do some admin while you're on it. You know, it's absolutely imperative that you don't get bored on that treadmill. And before you know it, an hour's incline's gone, and you are going to be burning some serious fat if you're doing an hour incline walk. I mean, more so than running. I would recommend, if you are overweight, I mean, it's 90% diet, by the way, but doing an incline walk like that will completely and utterly burn so much more fat than you would do just doing a run where you're getting yourself a little bit anxious and a little bit cortisol-y. Do an incline walk to disco for an hour and your fitness will just rocket. Also, I think the actual act of doing at least 5 minutes changes the cravings. There is something in that chemical compound from exercise, there's some hormone that stops me from raiding the fridge straight after. 10 minutes I've done today. I didn't intermittent fast this morning either. I started picking kid sausages, which were nice, they were organic, but I had kid sausages, I had some scrambled egg, and then I started going, we got any crisps, Matthew? Straight away, it's just not like me. Anyway, I thought, right, I better have a quick run. Did a run, came back, I don't want crisps. I'm having a nice glass of kombucha, I'm gonna have a bulletproof coffee after this. It's amazing how powerful that 10 minutes can just change the trajectory of your taste buds and your cravings. So for me, exercise is tiny bit of exercise, by the way, we're not talking Barry's boot camp. Tiny bit of exercise will change how your brain works when you're in that kitchen and you're just cruising. You know, when you're just like cruising around the island and you're just going in and out the fridge. I mean, what's that about? Opening that cupboard. We've all got that cupboard. Yeah, well, we can close that cupboard because we've done some exercise and we're going to do something a bit more productive. Okay, how to use collagen and collagen for kids. Collagen for kids is fine. Just think of the shit that kids are given on a daily basis. When you just go to the newsagents and people are worried about giving the kids collagen, it is the most natural, brilliant, full of minerals, vitamins, everything. And something like this, and they've got another one, they've got an active one, I won't get it for you, but it's orange, and it tastes of orange. So you can put that in their jelly. These guys do a grass-fed, grass-finished gelatine as well, which I just make I've just ordered some little molds that I'm going to make into sweets, and they're just going to sit and eat like little jelly sweets. Honest to God, the amount of things you can do for your kids, it becomes like an obsession, like, oh, I can get some more collagen into them, I can protect their gut, because, you know, I know my kids are going to go out into the big bad world. You know, I know they're going to go to parties, but if I can protect them as much as I can at home when they do go there, hopefully their gut's not going to just grab onto it and their brain's not going to like memorize that this sugar rush, and they're not going to become addicted, and they're not going to become overweight, and they're not going to be, you know, have to battle diabetes and stuff. It's just awful that what our kids are subjected to as treats. So I've mentioned, a lady said to me, what do you do when your kids go to parties? Well, I feed them before. So if they do have something to eat there, they're not going to be ravenous because they're starving. I've already cut out that. They're just going to grab it because all the other kids are. And to be honest, my kids are more interested in the playtime rather than the eating time. I'm not going to make them into the weird kids that can't eat anything. That's the opposite. I want them to be protected and happy. So I just feed them before. Bacon, eggs, sausage, mushrooms, sourdough. Fill them right up, and then they go to a party, and then they can have some sweets when they get home that I've made as well. I mean, you can't make them into the weird kids, can you? Because then they'll get bullied. How do I use this collagen? Because this one's flavorless. Okay, right. So I intermittent fast. Collagen's a protein, so it would break my fast. So what do I do before? What I do is I have bulletproof coffee with some MCT powder, or, I mean, I'm okay with the oil, but I do understand a lot of people find it a little bit, gives them a runny tummy or churny tummy. So this MCT powder is great. It's got fiber in it, 0 carbs. So my idea of fasting is not a religious fast. It's not 0 calories. I don't want 0 calories. I don't count calories. I count chemicals and I count carbs. So I'm quite happy chucking 3,000 calories down my throat a day. Not a problem. Absolutely not a problem, because most of them are from fat that I'm burning, because for the majority of the day, I'm in ketosis and I am using fat as fuel, which fuels your brain, which fuels my muscles, which is great for my gut. So basically, I start off my day, I will have a bulletproof coffee, which does have calories in, but it doesn't have carbs. So I'm in a fasted ketosis state. It doesn't have insulin in. So when I say I'm fasted, I've not spiked my insulin. I'm flat like this, but I do have energy in my brain. So the fat will help me mitigate those sugar cravings for instance, because you want sugar. You want sugar. I mean, we've been raised on sugar. This is what we all bloody have been told. Low fat, high sugar diet. I mean, what's not to love? So what I do is I have bulletproof coffee at 7 in the morning. I've got a sweet tooth, so I put a drop of stevia in it. Stevia won't spike your insulin either, so you're A-okay with that. I'll have another one probably about 9 o'clock. I will probably have another one about 11 o'clock. Then I will get to the gym. And bearing in mind, I'm still flatline. I've still not got any insulin spikes. I've no sugar in my body whatsoever. So I'm still in a fasted state when I work out. I certainly have more energy as soon as I tap into that fat fuel. And when I'm running long distance, like I ran the marathon, I did, I think, about 15K before I had a banana. And that was a marathon. And let me see, I will probably work out for a good hour or so, and then I'll come off the treadmill. And if I want to have, I will definitely leave my body for a good 40 minutes before I have anything else. I mean, water's fine, of course. Water and chia seeds should be okay. But then towards the afternoon, I'll have my bulletproof, but I will add some Planet Paleo, or I will have a bone broth. Now, this is in preparation for my onslaught of food that's coming. I believe this is really good. It's like almost like an aperitif before dinner, like a sort of like a mocktail. But I will have a bone broth, and I will have some flavorless, hunter and gatherer do a really good bovine collagen. I'll chuck that in my coffee, whiz that up and drink that. That will take me out of ketosis because it's got a protein in it. And protein, when you have protein, your liver converts it to sugar. So don't think that protein's not going to, spike your insulin, but it will. But it's really good for you. And it will line my gut. And it will prepare it. And my gut's had a great rest. It's not digesting all the time. So I've been in autophagy. So my cells have been like recycling. And then it gets all this fabulous nutrition from the bone broth and from the bovine collagen. And then I can start eating. And if I want to cut some weight, I'll just cut out sourdough. If I don't, I will have sourdough with cheese on toast and butter, and I will have sardines and put onto the grill, and I will just go for it. And like I said, I count chemicals, not calories. So more often than not, it's homemade. And it's super tasty. I'll put salt and pepper on it, and I will put loads of herbs and spices on it. And I will try and not get it out of a packet because it's got fillers and preservatives and sugars in it and chemicals that, to be honest, I think make me fat. I don't think it's the calories that make me fat. It's the chemicals that make me fat because it's bruising my body and it's triggering my addictive brain that tells me to go and have something else to eat, go and have some sugar. Okay, so I normally break my fast about 4 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock with like a collagen. Probably about 3 or 4 o'clock. That's what I'll do. But I'll have as many coffees as I want. I'll take L-theanine with it as well, which stops me getting the jitters. And it's a great way to live because my cravings have gone. I've supplemented sugar with fat, and my cravings have gone. Who knew? Right, vegan options. Okay, so the thing is with vegans, I think it's going to be quite expensive for you guys to thrive. because of all the vitamins that you'll miss out, and the amount of carbs you have to eat to get the right amount of protein. Of course, you have to eat kilos and kilos of soy and pea to get what we get in a steak. But I understand that's your lifestyle choice, but be prepared to pay extra. You need all the B12s. And God, if you've got a dodgy MTHFR gene, if you've got a variant on that, you could find yourself really tired and not detoxing properly. But Ancient and Brave have got an amazing collagen made from seaweed that you might want to have a look at. It's collagen with a YN, and that's what you would probably break your fast with as well. I mean, my whole day is virtually vegan until I hit 4 o'clock, and then I go on a carnivore binge. But I mean, you could really, really probably have you're going to have to be prepared to put your hand in your back pocket and pay to be vegan, because of, you know, all the nutrition that you get for free in meat. I'd be worried about kids being vegan, to be honest, and bones. And I mean, there's just so much you miss out on. But I understand it. It's a lifestyle choice, and it's a super exciting one because you've got to really research and look into it. But yeah, have a look at Ancient and Brave, see what you think of their range, and it's beautiful. It looks gorgeous. Colonic and liver flushes. Okay, so I am a fan of the old colonic, but if you do have some sort of condition. So basically, if you've got a yeast overgrowth or something, it can be a good way to get rid of it, but you've got to be prepared to repopulate it. So I've got some Simprove here. I'm actually getting the founder of Simprove on so we can talk to him about this, because this works for some people but not for others. I want to know why. But this is the only one that has got real studies of success behind it. And I'm not even meant to say it, but they're using it in trials for Parkinson's and getting a lot of success. But Simprove should help, and you don't need a prebiotic with this. It's already got it in there. And the reason why this works is because it's a liquid, and the stomach hasn't yet identified liquid as a potential hazard. So if you eat off meat, your body will react to it. But if so like a chunk of something, if you ate something solid, your body would react to it. If you have water, it doesn't react in the same way. That's why this gets past the intestines into the gut. But we'll go into detail with that. He's a really nice guy, actually. It's a fascinating story. I did a liver flush. Oh my God, I'm running out of time. I did a liver flush, actually, which I found really helped with my mental health. This is way, way back, just after I'd had Jude. So we're talking nearly 5 years ago. Liver flush, have a Google of it. You do it once a month. It's frigging brutal, but it works. And I don't care what anyone says. It works. No doctor would advise it. No doctor would advise any of this, actually, I don't think. What you do is you get up in the morning, you have a litre of apple juice, and then you have 8 cups of chamomile tea, nothing, no other food. And then at 2 o'clock, you have nil by mouth until 5 p.m. Then you drink a tablespoon of Epsom salts, so really salty, in water, neck that down, and then put like a lemon in your mouth to get rid of the taste, like a tequila. You'll start going to the loo like a lunatic, and you'll be really glad you've not eaten anything that's solid at this point. You repeat that at 7 o'clock, so the Epsom salts back on the loo. And then at 10 o'clock at night, you drink about this much of olive oil mixed with the juice of 5 grapefruits, and you drink it down. Oh my God, it's horrific. And then you need to take some melatonin, because you do not want to wake up when you're detoxing from that. It is awful. You can feel all the toxins dragging. But in the morning, you'll get up at about 6 o'clock and you'll feel so hungover. And you'll go to the loo and you will like pebble dash. You will like literally poo out loads of green pellets. God knows what it is. Some people say it's for all the bile in your liver or whatever, or some people say it is just the olive oil. But whatever it is, it works. Your mood by 3 o'clock in the afternoon will be through the roof. It really works. And if you do that once a month for 5 months, guaranteed you will completely reset something. I don't know what the science is behind it, but it works and it's virtually free. It's just the olive oil doesn't have to be exquisite olive oil, by the way, just some extra virgin olive oil. I mean, it's brutal. I think actually I'm going to do one. I'm going to do one and film it. That's what I'm going to do, because if I can do it, you guys can do it. Oh, hello. I'm gone, does aloe and molkazam break the fast? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It won't spike your insulin. So don't worry about that. Paleo versus keto. If you want to lose weight, go keto. If you want a really good lifestyle, go paleo. Remember, I don't stick to anything 100% because I've got kids, we're in different areas, or, we've got different shops. I just try and eat as naturally as possible. I completely and utterly understand that we're all surrounded by triggers at the moment. I do not take that first bite, like I do not take that first drink. If I take the first bite of a Cadbury's cream egg, forget it. I'm defenseless against the rest of it. I don't know one person on this planet, particularly us women, who can have one ginger nut biscuit and then put it back in the cupboard. If you can, I don't know why you're listening to me, because you've not got what I've got. I am literally defenseless against anything being in my cupboard and me not being prepared for it. So that's why I always have MCT oil. If I feel coming on, I'll take a tablespoon of it because I'm low on something. I don't necessarily have to do a bulletproof coffee, but I will do. Because I don't want to trigger myself. I don't want to put it in my gut, because my gut will tell my brain you want more. And I hate cravings. I hate not being able to have what I want. So if I don't want it, there's no craving. But a paleo, I think, is possible. Paleo diet is one of the best ways to live. And the recipes are lovely because you can use ingredients like honey. You can use carbs like honey. You can use carbs like maple syrup because your body can use it. It's not like crappy sugar. It just stores it and your body gets more and more bruised because of it. You can use maple syrup. It's a natural ingredient that evolution has wonderfully got us to be able to utilize. So have a look at paleo. We're all baking like lunatics. Well, I'm not, because I'm really shit at it. But if you can bake, go paleo for the love of God, and do sourdough. It'll cut out that gluten molecule that bloats you as well. It's all about cutting out the chemicals. All right, let's see what else we got. Vitamin D. Right, if you can, I know the weather's good, get outside without any SPF on. Get some vitamin D. All the studies are saying that it's helping with the coronavirus, that people who have decent vitamin D are not having as terrible reactions. And no supplement is as good or lasts as long as the real synthesis of vitamin D. If you are worried about burning, find a SPF that is reef friendly. Okay, so in Hawaii, they're banning SPF because it's killed the coral reef. And I think they're doing the same in Australia. So there's a lot of chemicals that you have to take out of SPF that I believe are probably carcinogenic anyway. So have a look for anything that is reef friendly. That'll cut out all having to learn big long names. Reef friendly. Okay, anxiety and depression. I want you to please understand that depression can come from lack of self-esteem. So the first thing you learn when you get sober is because you've got a load of shame, you've got a load of guilt, you've got no self-worth. That's why you try and kill yourself, and you feel useless. The first thing you have to do is something esteemable. And sometimes that means just writing something down in a diary. So if you have this, they teach you this in early recovery. So if you have a nice notepad next to you, write down 10 things that you're grateful for about yourself. Number one should be having a cold shower and feeling alive. That should be number one. And number two should be, I had a bulletproof coffee. And guess what? I didn't have a sugar craving till 11 o'clock. Little things like that will really help you. That is standard AA stuff. And we're talking about people, AA, NA, we're talking like serious addicts. That is one of the first steps that you get told to do. And if that can help people who are on crack, that can help anybody with depression. Personally, I think things like this are going to be the new antidepressant. Talking to Tim Spector the other day, I didn't mention it when we were live, but this is the direction of how depression is going to be treated via the gut. This is where technology has taken us, because as soon as I have something inflammatory, my brain registers it and I feel lower. Now, whether it's my addictive brain, because we've got to say it's every day that you're sober, your addict is doing press-ups behind you, getting stronger and stronger. So my addictive brain will take me down any route to try and get me to drink again. And if that takes me down the sugar route, it will do, because it messes with my brain. It is as powerful as cocaine. It's as addictive as cocaine. Sugar is terrible. And remember, it's an industry. People are getting paid to force it on you. So just take a step back from the equation and don't be part of that financial pathway. Come away from it and replace it with maple syrup and fat and see what you can do, because your serotonin, 90% of it is made in your gut. So how you can think that by feeding your gut something as inflammatory as vegetable oils, seed oils and sugar is not going to affect your mental health is crazy. I mean, I cannot wait for the NHS to catch up and we get these trials out and we can start saying, and doctors start saying, no, you need to do this. Because people don't believe me because I'm not a doctor, but I've been there. I've tried to kill myself and no depression. It's fucking awful. But I've never felt better and I'm not on any antidepressants now. Okay. Teeth whitening, I just use baking soda and 3% peroxide I've got here, or 6% peroxide that you get in Boots at home. I put it on 30 seconds like this, and it's you don't brush it, just let it fizzle, and it'll just take the stains off from the coffee or whatever else you've been eating, red wine, whatever. So that I do that about once a month. And also the pink toothpaste, I've left it in the kitchen. So the pink toothpaste, it does contain fluoride. And I know there's a whole debate about is fluoride really bad for us? And does it stupor creativity? But I mean, I don't have it in my water. I don't drink fluoride water. I understand, but I'm not convinced yet. My teeth are okay. I think my creativity is okay. I'm not convinced about the whole fluoride debate yet, but we'll wait and see. It could just be further burden on our toxic load. But I have hydrogen water anyway. I've got a Kangen system in here. So that's what my kids and I drink. We drink Kangen water. I've not noticed any massive difference with the Kangen water before you go out and spend a fortune on it. I physically can't feel a difference, but you know, hopefully it's just adding up. Bad days, yes, I have bad days. Every day is a fucking bad day with kids and with dogs and with poo and with homeschooling. Every day is a bad day. I am a high octane person. I always have been. I've always been one of these type of people. So every day I find a challenge. But oh my God, a bad day now, this roundabout now, like the past few years, is nothing compared to what a good day was 10 years ago when I was drinking and eating. A good day was horrific compared to one of my bad days now. So I just need to have to roll it back and go, I need to be so grateful that I don't have to have a glass of wine in the morning. A box of wine in the morning. I don't have to take antidepressants. I don't have to eat Domino's pizza to try and build up my dopamine to give me some energy. I don't have to do any of that because I have got so much knowledge now. Thank God that I understand what's making me tick and how I do navigate my inner rage. Listen, if anybody ever met my dad, you would know where my rage comes from. I mean, he is 100 miles an hour, you know, and I've got that. And my grandmother, I mean, it totally is epigenetic. So I just have to navigate the genes that I have been given, but I am not reaching for sugar. I am not reaching for wine. I am not reaching for pills. I'm doing everything I can through the knowledge I've learned, through taking things like Corella, Dream On, Simprove, having a lovely bottle of kombucha, feeding my gut and feeding my brain, and my body just follows me and my mood just follows me. So that went on half an hour longer than I expected, but I'm going to re-upload this and I will put all links into all the companies I've mentioned. I love you guys. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, my friend's going to do a giveaway with these t-shirts, which are dead nice and soft. Scouse jeans, me. Scouse jeans, God, we can go, can't we? And yeah, I'll see you soon. I've got a chat with Pippa. I think we're doing thyroid on Monday. So I will see you all then. Have a wonderful weekend. And remember, 5 minutes can change 48 hours in your life. Get out there, walk, take your shoes off if you have to, stand in the grass, 15 minutes, balance your hormones, it's free. And for God's sake, get in a cold shower. Your hormones need to be hacked. We're women, let's take control. Mwah. See you later.